Hello everybody, this is Grammy Alma. You see my little basket of goodies I had here. I wanted to talk to you about two of my books. You're familiar with both of them because I've talked about both of them. This one is called Wow Created Wow, and this one is the first one I wrote of the two. This book is poetry and it's inspirational poetry, and the Wow Created Wow stands for the Worker of Wonders created a woman of work. People were so impressed with this book. One group of ladies was so impressed with this book that they wanted to take it and use it as um, a book for a ladies class. And I said, you can't use a poetry book for a ladies class. And they said, yes, we can. I said, you can't do it. Then they said, well, you write us one then. I said, wait a minute. I'm a poet. They said, you said that your motto was doing what I can while I can. And I said, and it is. They said, then write us a book. Folks, there I was. I tell you, be careful what you tell people about what you believe. And that is what I believe. I just didn't expect somebody to hold me to that for something of this magnitude. So they wanted me to write them a ladies class book. And thus we have Chopping My Row. This is why I ended up with a book called Chopping My Row, which you're familiar with, but you probably didn't know the story behind it. They were so impressed with this book, Wow Created Wow, that they wanted me to write this one. And as I was writing this book, when I finished it, people said, hurry up. When's the next one? When's the next one? This is another group of folks. And I said, this is hard. So then when these other ladies just kept saying, write us a book, then we ended up with this book, Chopping My Row. Now, you know how sometimes when you have a poetry book, you wonder sometimes what the poet meant when they wrote a certain verse or a certain line. And then in here I have put scriptures down under each one of the poems so that it gives you something to think about, give you a reference point, and then I put questions in here. But I still don't tell you the whole story. I make you think a little bit in the poetry book. However, since they asked for a ladies class book, I wanted to be sure that they had everything that they need. So let me tell you what I did so that they had everything that they needed. I took everything that was in Wow Created Wow and put it in here, but I spelled it all out. There's nothing you have to guess, no guesswork, no anything. It's all here. Basically, I take a person from the time they become a Christian until after they pass to the other side. That's what this book covers. So it covers pretty much quite a bit of life. And this past weekend, someone was saying, talking about one of my books, and they were talking about me in one of my books, and they were at the beauty shop, and so the lady said, have you read any of Alma's books? The other lady said, well, yes, I have. She said, well, which one have you read? She says, I've read Chopping My Row. The lady said, tell me what you thought. She said, that book is wonderful. And I can say it, no, that book is phenomenal. That's the word she used. Wonderful was something they used when they were talking about this one earlier. But she said, that book is phenomenal. And so the lady that was telling me about it said, what did you say? And she said, that book is phenomenal. So then the lady that was telling me about what was said, she asked me, are you going to be in the Sweet Tea Festival here in McKenzie? I said, well, no, I hadn't planned on. You need to be in that. You need to call now because I want one of those books. I've got to have one of those books. And she said, I don't know if it's too late to get in there or not, but you find out. So I called, and luckily, you know how things work. Luckily, somebody had to brought something different, so they didn't need a spot. So I got a choice spot right there in the middle of the park, and that was just like coincidence. I said, no, I don't believe in coincidence. So I could see the hand of the Lord working through this, and so I took my books on there, and I can tell you the response to these two books was phenomenal. I sold out of this one because I had less of this one than I did in the beginning, but I had less of this one, and I had a case and a half of this one. And when it was all over, I had 14 books left. I had a case and a half. I had 14 books left. So I'm telling you, the support was just phenomenal, and I was just blown away. And then I said, oh, look at God. Look what the Lord has done. And you know that's what the Lord, and that's something that I've talked to you about before. If the Lord has a purpose for your life, you don't let anybody tell you what you cannot do. You see, because people told me when I lived back in Memphis, many years ago, that I could not go to college because my mother didn't have the money to send me. It was just impossible. But you know what? God sent me to college anyway. And then I was told as I started teaching that you'll never get a regular classroom. It's hard to get a regular classroom. You'll never get one. And I had been teaching special education for 15 years, and I had just about decided I'll never get a regular classroom. But you see, God does things in his own time. When he decided, which was 15 years into my teaching career, he decided it was time for me to get a regular classroom, and he gave me one with Flourish. And I mean, and then he put me in Who's Who Among America's Teachers for the next 15 years until I retired. So I don't listen to what people tell me that I cannot do or just cannot be done. And then people told me when I mentioned that I wanted to write a book, you can't write a book, you just can't do it. And you know what? But God said, you write 5+. I've written 5 so far, and I'm working on the next one. And I have about 7 others just waiting for me to get to. So I don't listen to people when they tell me it cannot be done, because the God that I serve can do anything. And here is living proof right here. So I guess I can say, I don't have to guess, I know I can say, I am a successful author. And not just a successful author, a very successful author. And God did this. And I tell people, when people tell me, when I was talking about my book, I was talking about this book. And during the festival, I had a couple of ladies to tear up some of the things that I mentioned in the book. And I said, this book will bless you. Because I guess I hit some spots that they were having some problems in their lives. And I said, this book will bless you. Because it'll take you in the storm that you're in and show you how to work your way through it. And then when you get through it, to tell you what to do when you get on the other side of through. I talked about this book. And I mean, I was just talking about what was in my book. And I mean, people were standing around listening as I talked about my book. And I thought, wow, look at what the Lord has done. So here you go. Wow created wow. The worker of wonders created a woman of work. And God knows the way I am. I'll say, I'll do it. I'll do it. That's the way I am. And so I have done it. And I'm still doing it. And as long as he allows me to have breath, I will continue to do that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about storms that I mentioned in this book. Storms are something that every Christian has in your life. You know, if you're going to try to live for him, you're going to have storms. And so you might as well learn how to work through them. And as the Lord allowed me to learn some things about life, I thought, okay, you know, I remember how a certain thing affected me. Let me put this in the book. I remember how this affected me. Let me put this in the book. And I was telling some people this past weekend, do you know that you go through a storm for a reason? There's a reason for every storm that you go through. So what you have to be willing to do, and I tell them, learn while you're in the storm so that you don't have to repeat that lesson. And so I started saying every time I had to go through something, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? Okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? You know, because I felt like I was going through it for a reason. And I won't tell you all, but I can tell you there were some major things that happened in my life that years later helped me to be able to have the correct words to say to someone that had they not happened in my life, I would have known what to say. But as it was, my pain was able to speak to their pain. And all of that is in this book. And she told me that this was a phenomenal book. For someone to say that a book of mine is phenomenal, that I know, but I already know. It's not me. It's the glory of God shining through me. Because my name is just little old Alma Jones, and I'm just a vessel of clay. But the God that I serve allowed me to be able to do this book because he wanted me to be able to. There's a scripture, you know, and I've read my Bible through several times, and I don't know why it hit me one particular day, but there's a scripture that says, I have Isaiah 50:4 that says, I have created in you the tongue of the learned, or another version says, the tongue of the encourager, so that you can have a word fitly spoken to your fellow man who may be weary from time to time. And I thought, oh, I get it now. So now I understand why I'm writing, why I'm so inspired. When I did write, I thought I was going to write children's books, but that's not to be. I'm writing inspired books that encourage people, and that's what I do. So if you get discouraged about something, you need a good book, this one. Now I'll tell you about this book. This is a very encouraging book, and this one, people keep my poetry book on their nightstands at night, and this is some of the last things they read at night before they go to bed. And I've been told that several times. And so I'm just telling you, these books, I have been told this one is phenomenal and this one is wonderful. But I thank God for his blessings in my life. And so, having said that, we talked a little bit about storms. I want to tell you, yes, storms affect you like nothing else in the world. We know that. And I know all of us have had times in your life when you felt like, Lord, can you hear me? Don't you love me anymore? Why are you letting me go through all this? I'm doing everything you want me to do. Don't you love me anymore? Where are you? We've all been through stuff like that. And you know how we do. But I have learned through my storms, since I know that there's a reason for them, and I know that he has a plan for my life, and I have that in this book as well, that God has a plan for your life. As a matter of fact, it's in both of them, but it's spelled out more in detail in the book, Chopping My Row. And yes, my books are found on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, but since I know that he has a plan for my life, then I know that anything that I go through, I can make it through it because God is in control. He's in control. And there are some other things that I put in the book that'll really just blow your mind and have you shedding tears of joy or tears of, how does she know what I'm feeling? How does she know what I'm going through? Because the Lord gave it to me, put it in my heart and in my life so that I could experience it, so that I would know what to say to you to lift you up as you go through whatever it is you're going through. And then having said that, I'm going to do a little snippet of a song. You know, I always call it a snippet of a song because I never finish an entire song. I just don't do that. But I am going to do a little snippet of a song for you. And I'm so glad. Let me get a little sip of water here. But you know, I'm so glad that the Lord didn't say that we had to be the best singers in the world. You know, because the forest would be very quiet if nothing sang but the best songbirds. But he didn't say that you have to do that. All he said was, do your best for me. And so that's what I'm going to do. And if this little snippet of a song that I sing encourages somebody, then good. Then I would have done my job. You know, and that's all I'm about. I'm trying to do my job. And while I'm doing my job, I want to sing praises to my Father who has blessed me so much. And I'm very, very, very thankful. If I lived 1,000 lifetimes, I wouldn't be able to tell you how thankful I am to the God that I serve and how much he loves us. I just can't do it. So I'm going to do this little bit of a snippet of a song and try to put my heart into it. And just understand if my voice cracks and pops, which they do when we get a little older, just go with me anyway, and then maybe it'll come on back where it should be. If not, just stay there with me. Let me finish my song, if you will. Let me get a sip of water. So I'm going to do this song, and this is a song that I sing when I'm going through something rough, just to remind myself that, you know, that there is a God, and he sees, he knows, and he cares. And so I just keep going. And here we go. And if I talk too much before the book, I just wanted to kind of set the basis for it. But anyway, this song helped me write this book through my father. And anything that you hear me do, if I do it well, just understand, let me say this again, it's the glory of God shining through me. I'm just a clay pot. I'm just a piece of clay. But I'm doing what I can while I can for my Father. And that means praising him too. I don't know what's waiting on me. No, I don't. In my future, y'all, I just don't know. I don't know what I will be doing. No, 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 no. Even a few days from now, I just don't know. But I believe. You see, when my life starts coming apart and nothing makes sense anymore, this is what Grammy Alma does. But I believe if I keep holding on, God is going to comfort me, and he's going to keep old Alma strong, 'cause it's in my heart. Yes, it is, y'all, way down on the inside. Yes, it is. I'll be serving the Lord. And listen, let me tell you something. Sometimes life will get a hold of you and it just won't let go. And you come to the point in the road where you just don't know what to do. and you just feel like I can't make it through this. But that's when you need to hold on to the Lord harder than ever. Because sometimes my road, it gets so dark and dreary. Y'all, I can't hardly find my way. Sometimes my burden gets so heavy that I can't stop having sleepless nights. You didn't hear me. Sleepless nights and weary days. But I keep believing, and this is what you got to do, that if I hold on, God is going to comfort me. He's going to keep old Alma strong. Because it's in my heart. Yes, it is, y'all. Way down on the inside. Yes, it is. God planted his love. Put it down in my heart. And this is what you have to do. And you keep serving the Lord. Because I tell you what I'm going to do. I'll keep serving the Lord. I'll keep serving the Lord. I hope that I blessed you with my song. You hold on. And you keep believing. God will comfort you. Be blessed until next time. This is Grammy Alma.